Have you ever really stopped to think about what actually happens in your brain when a price suddenly changes? I mean, on the surface, it seems pretty simple, right? But if you dig just a little deeper, you'll find some really fascinating economic forces at play.
Think about it for a second. A 10% discount is a 10% discount, isn't it? But our gut reaction, that urge to buy more or not, it feels totally different for something like petrol than it does for a new laptop. So why is that?
Well, the secret is that your brain is actually making two incredibly powerful and totally distinct calculations at the same time. Let's break them down.
All right, so the first piece of this puzzle is what economists call the income effect. And really, it all boils down to a change in your personal spending power.
So here's the deal. When the price of something you buy all the time goes down, your purchasing power actually goes up. I mean, you didn't get a raise or anything, but it feels like you did because your money suddenly goes a whole lot further.
Okay, let's walk through the logic here. So say the price of petrol drops. All of a sudden, the money you'd already budgeted for petrol can buy you more than it did last week. That boost in your real income, what your money can actually get you, is what nudges you to maybe drive a little more, to consume more. And boom, that's the income effect right there.
But hey, that's only half the story. The second powerful calculation your brain is making, that's the substitution effect. And this one is all about sizing up your options.
See, when the price of one thing drops, it doesn't just get cheaper in a vacuum. No, it gets relatively cheaper compared to all its substitutes. Your brain instantly flags it as the better deal, and that's what pushes you to swap out the now pricier option for the cheaper one.
And this right here, this just lays out the difference perfectly. The income effect, that's all internal. It's you thinking, hey, my money goes further, I can afford more. But the substitution effect, that's an external comparison. It's, whoa, this is a much better deal than that other thing. And the crazy part is, both are happening at the same time in a split second.
Okay, so we've nailed down why our demand changes. But the really big question, especially for businesses and economists, is by how much? How on earth do we measure that response?
Right? I mean, when the price changes, is the shift in our buying habits just a tiny little tremor, or is it a massive earthquake? To really get a handle on the impact, we need a way to measure that sensitivity.
And that tool is called price elasticity of demand. It's basically a fancy way of asking a simple question. For every 1% the price changes, by what percentage does the amount people want to buy also change?
Oh, I love this analogy. Just think of it like an economic rubber band. Is the demand for a product like a stiff, unmoving rope? Or is it more like a super stretchy rubber band that just expands like crazy with the slightest little pull on the price? That's exactly what elasticity tells us. Now here's what's super cool about this. Elasticity isn't just a simple yes or no. It's a whole spectrum, you know? It ranges all the way from totally rigid to incredibly responsive. So this table here just lays out the whole spectrum for us. On one end, you've got perfectly inelastic, where E equals 0. That means demand doesn't budge no matter what the price does. Then, way over on the other end, you have perfectly elastic, where the tiniest price change can cause a huge shift in demand. And of course, you've got everything else right there in the middle.
A classic and pretty powerful example of inelastic demand is life-saving medicine. Think about it. If the price goes up or down, the quantity people need stays the same. Why? Because their lives literally depend on it. In this case, that demand rubber band is more like a steel cable. It's not stretching. And for the complete opposite, elastic demand, just picture a specific brand of cereal in a massive supermarket. If its price creeps up even a little bit, what do we all do? We just grab one of the other dozen brands on the shelf, right? Demand is super responsive because there are so many easy substitutes. And you know what's clever? Brands spend billions on advertising just to convince you that their product is unique, all in an effort to make your demand for it way less elastic.
Okay, so we get the concept. But in the real world, how do economists actually get a precise number? I mean, how do they figure out if something has an elasticity of, say, 0.5 or 2.5?
Well, they mainly use two different tools. You've got point elasticity, which is like a microscope. It's for looking at a tiny immediate price change, like what happens if we raise the price by a single penny. Then you've got arc elasticity, which is more like a ruler. It's for the big picture questions like what's going to happen to our sales if we run a 30% off summer sale. It measures the average response over a much bigger price change.
And let me be clear, this is not just some abstract economic theory. This stuff is absolutely critical. Businesses use elasticity every single day to figure out the perfect price for their products. And governments, they use it to predict how a new tax on something like petrol or sugar is actually going to change how we all behave. It literally shapes the world around us.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you understand the income effect, the substitution effect, and elasticity, start looking for them out in the wild. I guarantee you'll start to see how sales, discounts, and all those pricing strategies are designed to pull on these exact levers inside your brain. It's happening every single day.